Welcome back. Today we are going to talk about Moondrop's new droplet, and this is going to be the most important part of this whole review. This set was released domestically in China as a tie-in to the science fiction novel Three Body Problem and the TV series that was just released. So that is the majority of why the set was released, why it looks the way it looks, why the accessories are here. And if you're purchasing it for that reason, then perfect. You've kind of come to the right place. And it's a really very nice package put together by Moondrop with that tie-in. If you were just looking to purchase a 1BA for your music, use, maybe not. It's a bit pricey for what it is, and really you are paying a lot of money for the tie-in. And if you don't care about that tie-in to the TV series, then there's probably other options for you to purchase. So here we go. This is what it looks like. And so droplet, everything looks like a little droplet of water. Maybe we'll get something to focus, maybe not. But yeah, it's kind of a cool looking set. They put together some nice accessories. Everything says droplet. Actually has a microphone as well. Non-removable cable. It's kind of okay. You do get this cool metal kind of medallion keychain. I'm not sure what this really is, but there you go. Kind of three body. So again, I think the movie tie-in things, the box, the package, the little case, I think all these things are pretty amazing if that is what your primary interest is. If it's not, we'll talk about the sound and why you want to maybe consider some other cheaper options. So here's what the graph looks like. And again, they said that they hit VDSF, their target. The base is much more elevated than their target. And this is probably rolled off sharper than their target. But a lot of it comes down to this. And it's just rolled off kind of early. And the level isn't really good enough to really sound like an everyday kind of carry. Even a good example of a 1BA, I think maybe they hit their target, but I'm not sure it comes across as anything other than they successfully hit their target. As far as a really nice sounding IM, it's not so much. So we'll kind of walk through this pretty quickly. So as I said, very much if you're into it because of the tie-in to the novel and the TV series, you've come to the right place. It's I would call it form over function. They put together this really nice package, these nice shells. Everything is kind of based around that tie-in, and that's kind of form over function. It looks really great. Great packaging, great shell, great story influence accessories, but it's more of a collector's item that can play music as well. I wouldn't necessarily call it the primary function of playing music. I think it's more of a collector's item in my opinion. Sounds like they fit VDSF to a 1BA, but not quite the right fit for this particular BA. It's just not, I don't know. Everything sounds okay, and we'll kind of go through all the okays here. So sounds okay for a 1BA, but as I said, it's a bit really too pricey if you just ignore the configuration. You're just basing it strictly on what it sounds like, the performance and the quality. It's it costs about $50, and it's not quite there at that to compete with other $50 sets. So the bass, it's okay. Mostly a lot of punch, not as much depth despite the graph. Like that graph looks like there's a huge amount of sub bass, but I mean, popular music doesn't really hit too hard out here. What you actually hear is a lot of this, and you don't hear a whole lot of that. And it just kind of sounds punchy and thin and a bit hollow. It's a 1BA, so you're really not buying a 1BA for the bass, so we'll kind of move on from that. But yeah, I wouldn't, if you're relying on a nice bass response, you have to remind yourself it's a 1BA and it has limitations. So the mid's the best part of it, but it kind of sounds okay. I mean, a lot of it is just due to the lack of bass and treble. It's really hard to be set up for success when both sides of the mids are a bit off, and without the support of those, you end up with this peaky upper mid that sounds nasally. So again, this peak right here, you don't see it all that often. You kind of rarely see a peak like that, because usually this will be rounded off, so you kind of get more broad support. Peaking it up like that it's almost like taking an EQ and sliding it up 2 or 3 dB too high. That's kind of what that sounds like. And then you have to remember this is also a 1BA, so this impact is not as much as you would expect from a 10 millimeter. It doesn't really move a whole lot of air, so not a whole lot coming from here. This BA is, it's kind of hit or miss whether they can hit high treble or not. This one does not. So you're really looking for tracks that kind of fall right in the meat of it there. So yeah, I was expecting okay detail and resolution when it comes up, but this one really comes up a little bit short on the price. There's just not a whole lot of detail or resolution coming out of this 1BA. Is there a standout track? I couldn't really find one. So Treble looks passable on paper, struggles to be heard, and never achieves its contribution to the whole sound. And a lot of this set, and I know they hit their target, but a lot of it comes down to this. There's just not enough, really not enough treble for everything to sound natural. Everything sounds a bit off, and a lot of it comes down to that level just not being right. On the good side, it doesn't cause any other issues like sibilance or fatigue. If there's no real treble or it's really low, you're not going to get any sibilance, you're not going to get any fatigue, so we'll give it an okay. But really, there's that lower emphasis and just a flat upper. A lot of it, they put a lot of energy here for a reason, just so they can push it, so things sound a little better here. But yeah, there's almost nothing happening out here, so it just sounds very flat. And that result is really, you hear it in the stage right immediately, put in your ears. It's just really pretty far from what you're expecting at $50. But if you're into flat soundstage, in your head soundstage, this one's got you covered. So that's what I got on Droplet. So thank you guys again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.